Hi and welcome. Transform. Well, what's that all about? Well, Transformer lets you apply transformations, like rotating, like scaling, like distorting, and like perspective, and all in one continuous operation. Now, it also lets you warp things, which the warp function is pretty cool actually. It really lets you squish the pixels around to an amazing content. So what are we waiting for? Let's get to it. My name's Ken Fisher and this is LiveLink Training. Now in this video we're going to be exploring the transform command. Now don't forget, if you're a fan of the printed page, there is a free ebook to accompany the video. Just click on the link in the More section under the video to download it. Okay, let's dig in. Now there are many times when we need to change the size of images or selections on a layer by layer basis. Now for this we have the transform command. Now it's in the edit menu. If I go up to edit, you'll see we've got transform, that there are some sub menus for, and free transform, but at the moment they're both greyed out, and this is because when you open an image in Photoshop it will generally come in as a background layer, and this has got a little padlock on. Now transform won't work on a background layer, so what we've first got to do is to get rid of that padlock, and I can do that. I can just click on it, or I can rename the layer, or I can drag the padlock into the bin. Either of those options will get you back to a layer. And now when we go up to the edit menu, we'll find that we have free transform, which has got a catchy little keyboard shortcut of Control and T or Command and T if you're on a Mac. And we've got transform that's got all these different options to it: scale, rotate, skew, distort, perspective, warp, and the rest down to the bottom. Okay, let's start with scale. If I go to edit and transform and scale, now this is going to allow me to get hold of the image, either all the transform handles you can see around the edge of the image. I can grab any one and I can click and drag, and I can scale the image. I can make it fatter, thinner, wider, taller, whatever. Now if I want to do this in proportion, then I've got to add a modifier key, and that modifier key is the shift key. If I hold the shift key down now, this will only let me move and transform this in direct proportion. Now if you want to accept the transform when you've finished it, a quick way is just to double click anywhere inside the transform, or you could go up to the toolbar at the top and click the tick. If you don't wish to accept it, then you can press the escape key, or there's this little no entry sign here. If I click on that, it'll bring me back to out of transform completely. Okay, next on the agenda, if we go to edit and transform, it's rotate. And again we see the control handles, but if I now hover just outside the transform, you see it changes, me cursor changes to a little double bent arrow, and if I click now and drag, I'll rotate round the center point of that image. Now you'll see here I'm rotating round the center point, and if you look up on the tool options bar at the top, you'll see we've got this little matrix here, and at the moment it's in the center. Now if I wanted to rotate round a non-center point, I could click on this one. So let's say I click on that corner one, and now when I rotate, I'm rotating round that corner. If I click on the bottom one, I'm now rotating round the bottom corner. I'll just set it back to the center so that I'm rotating round the center again. And I don't want to accept this, so I'm just going to click the no entry sign again. Next on the list, if we go up to the edit menu and transform, we've got skew. And again we see the control handles, and this time if I just hover around one of the control points, I'll get like a little left and right arrow, and if I click now, I can skew the image. So I can skew it left or right, and I'll hover over this one on this side, and I can click and I can skew it vertically. So left and right, I can move it as well. I can move it as well. If you miss the point, you'll move it. Okay, so I can do left and right, or up and down. And then I don't want to accept that. We'll go on to the next one, so I'll click the no entry sign again. Next, edit, transform, and we've got distort. Now distort gives me access to all the corner handles to actually distort each section of this image totally independently. So you'll see that my cursor is now a little black triangle. If I move it over a corner point, it gets to a white one. And now if I click, I can distort those two planes. And if I go to my bottom corner, I can distort that. So I can distort really to make this thing look quite three-dimensional. And if I go for a center handle, it'll just stretch it in the whatever plane you've got for your distortion. Come back out of that again. What we got next? We've got edit and transform, and we've got perspective. Now perspective allows us to drag one corner and it'll move the other corner in exactly the same amount. So it gives us like a perspective effect. I'll show you what I mean. So I'll hover over this corner, and if I drag that in, you'll see the bottom corner moves up exactly the same amount. So I could move this way, so you can distort the perspective in all the different directions. Okay, we'll come out of there. Next we have warp. If I go down to edit and transform, we've got warp. And this is a super tool for basically smooshing the pixels round. It really is fantastic. Now, if you see these little dots here, yeah, we've got one. If I click on that and drag it, you'll see it's attached to like a tangent, and I can drag that up. I've got another one here. You've got them all the way around. You can drag them in or out to really go for warping and distorting your image. So it can be used as a little bit of an artistic tool or as a corrective tool. And as well as doing the control handles, if you click anywhere in the image, you can actually smoosh around the pixels in the image as well and do some really weird and wacky transformations. But there it is, that's the warp tool. Now, coming out of warp is a two-step process. What you've got to do is, if you go up to the tool options bar, you'll see that we're in warp because that little warp icon's got a different colour. And if I click on that, I've now come out of warp, but I'm still in transform. So I can click and drag and move it around or transform it. But if I've now finished with that, then I click the tick, and that will bring me out of transform. But I don't want to come out of transform at the moment. I don't want to accept that. So I'm going to click the little no entry icon again. Now the next set, if we go edit and transform, we've got rotate 180 degrees, 90 degree clockwise and 90 degrees counterclockwise. These basically are one-click items that do basically what it says on the tin. If I do rotate 180 degrees, it'll tip it upside down. I'll just undo that. And then we'll try edit and transform. We'll try 90 degrees clockwise. And that rotates it 90 degree clockwise for you. Now in this particular case, I seem to have lost half my image because it's behind the pasteboard, it's up here. So if I wanted to reveal all the image, what I'd have to do is go to the image menu and select reveal all. And that would reveal all the pixels to the boundaries of the image that I've got. But I don't want that, so we'll step that backward a couple of times. And then we'll look at edit and transform and rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, and really that's just going to do exactly the same as the one above, but it does it in an anti-clockwise direction. Okay, the last two is flip horizontal, and this does exactly what it says on the tin. One click and it's flipped horizontally. And then the lastly but not leastly, if we go to the edit menu, transform and flip vertical, it flips it vertically. So if I want to get that back to where it was, I can go to the edit menu and transform, flip vertical again, and then I'll go to the edit menu, transform and flip horizontal, and I'm back to where I started. Now, as well as using transform like this, there is a free transform option, and I'll just show you that. That's edit and free transform, and it's got a catchy little keyboard shortcut of Control plus T or Command and T if you're on a Mac. And this gives us like a free form, so we can rotate, and if we grab the corner, we can scale. So we can do quite a lot of things just in one command. And don't forget, if you're wanting to scale in proportion, you need to hold the shift key down like that. Now, whenever you're in transform, any transform, you've got the move tool. So if you want to move these pixels forever, you can relocate them up to the top and then transform it again. Okay, that's free transform. I'll just click to come out of that. Okay, let's have a quick look at when you might want to use transform. Well, here I've got an image open of a smartphone that I've cut the hole out in the middle. And I've got an image that I might want to fit in there. So I'm going to get my move tool and I'm going to drag that image and drop it into the smartphone image. So I've now got a 2-image combination here. And I can click and drag this around, and what I'm going to do is just register that corner just up at that top left hand corner, because what I want to do is to just try, because it's now the perspective not right. You can see here that this is the perspective of the phone and it's just leaning a little bit away. So we're going to try and correct this. So let's have a look at what we can do. I'll just lean it down a little bit more so we can see that corner. So I'll try and get this bit right first. So we'll try edit, transform, and let's try distort. Okay, now I can grab that corner and I can move it into position, something like that, so it lines up with that edge. And then I can grab this corner and fetch it in so it lines up with that edge. And then we'll grab this corner and bring it down so that it lines up with that edge there. And that's the perspective, looks a little bit better. Just move it a little bit further up like that. And we'll just take that, stretch that up a tiny bit. Just skew it as well. And there we go. I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to double click inside to accept it as a transform. And that looks good, but now it's in the wrong place. It's sitting on top of the phone. I want it underneath the phone. So I'm going to reverse the layers. I'm just going to go grab that layer 1 and drag it underneath and let it go. And now I've still got the move tool, so I can move it around. Now the perspective's a lot better and I can just move it around to make sure it fits. Oops, just if you can't get it exactly, then you can use your arrow keys just for nudging it up and down and across ways, just to get it that perfect fit. Well, that's it for this video all about transform. I do hope you liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up or leave a comment under the video. Or if you can, share it with a friend or two. Don't forget to check out the more area under the video for the link to any download files or free ebooks. And please click the subscribe button so when I upload a new video, you are the first to know. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.